Before we get into today's episode, we want to announce the winner of our pet costume contest. Marie, are you ready?
I'm so excited, honestly. And our winner is Soup. Congratulations.
Thank you to all the contestants who entered, and thank you for your ongoing support. We really do appreciate it. But for our winner, Soup, Marie is going to get ready to start painting him, and we're actually going to document the process and hopefully share that with you guys sometime soon. So again, congratulations to Soup. Be on the lookout for that painting.
And let's jump to the episode. Hi everyone, I'm Marie.
And I'm Jay.
And you're watching new episode of Spooky Lunch Break. I hope your last week was really spooky.
Just FYI, you might hear in the background, our dog Garrick is chewing on a skeleton.
Of our hater.
No, it's not a skeleton, it's just a chew toy that we got him. So if you hear a little chewing, that's what's going on.
Nothing spooky, just a doggy.
The only thing spooky that we're going to be sharing today are stories from the subreddit TrueScaryStories. So these are like real life events that happen to people, and whether or not they happen the way they see it, that's up to you as the viewer to decide. So make sure you drop a comment and let us know what your favorite story is. Ready to get into it, Marie?
Yeah, come on.
The first and only hitchhiker I will ever pick up. I don't recommend picking up hitchhikers.
And I do not recommend to be one of them.
And I think this OP is about to tell us why. So last Friday, I, 25-year-old female, had a little time to kill before picking up my kids from school. And it was a gorgeous day. So I decided to spend some time cruising some back roads in my hometown. Small, rural, listening to music. I passed this guy with his thumb out trying to catch a ride, and I almost picked this guy up. He looked to be about late 30s, early 40s, carrying a fishing pole and a backpack. Pretty innocent looking, I guess. But see, I'm a lone female and have been taught with hundreds of hitchhiker gone wrong stories that you just keep driving. So I keep driving, and as I'm driving, I'm having this internal dialogue of guilt about my decision not to pick up this guy. You know, if I was hitchhiking, I'd hope someone would pick me up. And I mean, really, what's the worst that could happen? That mixed with my new self-improvement goal of doing the things that scare me as often as possible led me to the conclusion that if when I looped back around and he was still walking, I would pick him up.
I think the first thought that comes into the mind, like OP said, you're a woman, you're alone, and pick it up. Some man could be dangerous.
Yeah, I also think like your initial reaction of like kind of feeling nervous and like thinking about all these stories and then convincing yourself it's a good idea. And like, if you were hitchhiking, like I would want to, you know, someone to pick me up. I don't know. I think it's just a weird train of thought, but we'll see what happens. Sure enough, about 10 minutes later, he was still there. I was feeling a little nervous pulling over getting him, but what was I going to do? Peel out while he was trying to get in my vehicle? As soon as he gets in, I realized I had probably made a horrible mistake. 1, because he seemed like he was tweaking balls and smelled god awful. 2, because this dude was looking at me like I was a feast and he was starved. I didn't realize exactly how rattled I was with my decision until he asked me for a smoke and my hands were shaking so bad I barely pulled out one of my pack without breaking it. Driving made it easier to hide my nerves, but I was internally freaking out and trying to decide how I would beat this guy's ass if he tried anything. His name is Wayne, and he lives about 5 minutes from where I picked him up. Meanwhile, he's telling me how he lost his license due to DUIs and how he's living in this house with an old man. He tried to get me to come with him, but he didn't want to come, etc. He's also trying to talk me into hanging out at said house with him and come over and drink with him the next day. When I finally get him to his destination, it's a little shack-like thing surrounded by all these junk cars and shit. He gets out and is trying to still get me to come inside with him. I tell him no and leave. I'm feeling really relieved and a little proud that I faced a fear of mine. Fast forward to Monday, my instructor says, "Holy shit, apparently someone got murdered down the so-and-such road. Do you know anyone down that way?" I say, "Wow, you know, that's really ironic. I took a hitchhiker down that road Friday. His name was Wayne, I think." Probably wasn't 15 minutes later when I see old Wayne's picture on Facebook saying that TBI has picked him up for stabbing someone to death at the very house I dropped him off at Friday. Graphic information of how he stabbed him in the lungs and the victim bled out in that little shack. And the old man he was living with doesn't even exist. I swear, I'll never pick up another hitchhiker in my life. So you're low-key an accessory to murder. Congratulations.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you just help the person to kill another person. Not on purpose.
No, like, jokes aside, like, obviously it's not that person's fault.
Yeah.
But it was kind of crazy how he was like, oh, you should come inside with me. I don't think he was going to just kill that person and, like, leave you alone.
Or maybe if you go inside, he don't kill that person. But thanks God we'll never know, okay? Thanks God OP is pretty alive. And this guy is... honestly, scary, really scary. World in general scary, and I understand why OP trying to say like, oh, what if I be in this position? What if I need someone to help me to get to my destination?
Just trust your initial instincts.
That's true. It's complicated and scary. Honestly, if you stop in front of the person and you look at the person and this person look not good, just press gas and just run away.
Yeah, go pick up your kids.
That's more important.
Home alone with my old dog.
This favorite thing to do for me. Sitting home alone with the cats and dog. We read this story about like all this crazy and scary stuff because Halloween is just around the corner. When you have a pet, it feels like even if there's gonna be a ghost, you just like, oh, it's just a cat, or oh, it's just a dog. Someone sneeze in a different room, it's just a cat. Someone pull your blanket in the middle of the night, cat.
Someone pooped in the corner of the room, Marie.
What?
We don't have to keep that in. I was just trying to say a joke.
This boy sitting like close to me, we pooped together in a corner.
Ready to read the story?
Let's go continue. I would like to sip a tea.
Although it doesn't seem like it, this happened quite a while back, probably over 10 years ago. I was in the later years of high school and was home alone. My parents were at a wedding that required them to stay at a hotel, and my brother worked the night shift. At that time, my family lived in a very well-known East Coast city in a blue-collar neighborhood that was starting to take a nosedive. As a teenager, I was a bit of a loner. I wasn't a nerd or anything. I was a big dude who had friends and went on dates, but I'm a natural introvert, so I cherished the rare alone time that I got. This weekend, I was looking forward to engaging in my normal empty house routine, play some PlayStation on the big screen TV, then order a late takeout dinner, pizza or Chinese, and pig out while watching some Dragon Ball Z. Then around 2 a.m., fall asleep on the couch with my old dog, Cecil.
Cool name, by the way.
Great name for a dog, and honestly, this kid seems cool as hell. Playing video games and eating Chinese food. Cecil was a beagle who was old as the hills and had been in our family for about 8 years. He was quiet and peaceful and spent his time begging for food and sleeping. Unlike most beagles, Cecil never howled or barked. He was more than content to rest his head on your lap and spend the night there. Anyway, back to the story. It's approximately 1 a.m. I had just finished the last slice of pizza and was dozing off on the couch when I heard a bang coming from the back alleyway. I didn't think much of it. Anyone who has lived in a city knows noises happen at all moments of the night. Cecil's head popped up off my lap and the hair on his back stood up. He was always a bit skittish, so I calmed him down and started to doze off again. Not more than 2 minutes later, I hear another bang, and Cecil did something I'd never seen him do before. He leapt off the couch and ran like the wind towards the door leading to the basement, barking and growling like a dog twice his size. The look on his face reminded me of a German Shepherd K9 unit. I'd never seen him like that before, which got my adrenaline pumping. Through the dog's barking, I can now make out a persistent banging. There was a seldom used door in the basement that led to our back alleyway. It was old and rusted and was hard to open even with the key, and it made a lot of noise. I suddenly realized someone was trying to break into my house through the basement door. Quick little bit of context for anyone who hasn't lived in a bad neighborhood. If someone tries to get in your house and moves on after they realize the door is locked, they want your stuff. If someone is persistently trying to get into your house despite the door being locked, well, they want you.
That's fair. Can say anything. You know how we say? Locks on our doors, not against the thieves. It's against the people, good people, who want to come to your house and steal your stuff. Because if thieves want to come to your house, luck's never going to stop them.
Knowing this, I rush upstairs to grab the heavy wood baseball bat that I keep under my bed for situations like this. Then I head down to my basement. I probably should have ran, but I was a macho teenager with a tough guy complex, and plus I had nowhere to go. While I'm headed down to the stairs to my basement, Cecil blows past me with the speed and aggression of a dog half his age. Suddenly I hear a man's voice say, "Oh, and the banging stopped. I didn't call the cops or anyone else, which was probably the dumbest thing I've ever done. I just sat up for the rest of the night with a bat in hand. My brother came home that morning and I told him what happened. We went to the basement door to take a look, and when we gave it a tug to open it, the whole door fell off. The psycho was one good shove away from getting in my house, but old Cecil scared him off. I'm pretty sure that lazy fat old dog saved my life. When I tell this story to people, they dismiss his actions as a dog doing what a dog was supposed to do. But when I tell you that Cecil never barked or moved that fast in his life, you can take that to the bank. It was almost like he knew the urgency, like he knew that door was gonna give. A few years back, we had to have him put down because he just had no will to live anymore. Before the injection, I got a moment alone with him. I thanked him one last time for his friendship and for what he did that night. At this point, I was a grown man with a wife and kids. I'm convinced none of that would have happened without old Cecil. Thanks, pal. I miss you.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, I'm glad there was a happy ending. Rest in peace, Cecil. And yeah, it's always nice to have a really loyal pal like that in a pet.
Yeah, dogs are amazing. Something special in these little dudes.
I watched my coworker get arrested and then found out he had a sinister plan for me.
I don't know what's more strange, to actually see how your coworker was arrested, or plan of his to do something to you. Ouch.
I worked with this man for a little over 3 years. We worked pretty closely on some projects over the last 2 years and even sat near one another at work. In September, I showed up and saw about 10 detectives at my place of work. I was a bit startled as this was quite unusual for my area. I looked around and saw that my coworker was in handcuffs and looked quite disheveled, which wasn't out of the norm, to be honest. I walked up to the detectives, introduced myself, and let them know who I was in relation to him. I asked what was going on, and they filled me in on why he was currently being arrested. For the sake of the case, I won't share more than he was a disgusting person. Over the course of the next 3 hours, I watched as they dismantled his workstation, went through his belongings, took evidence pictures, and so on. I was pulled in and out of rooms, answering questions about his character, what I knew of him, and my feelings about him as a person. I told them he gave me a weird feeling in my gut, that I've always told my husband I wouldn't be surprised if the cops ever did come looking for him, that my husband even thought he was weird, and if I ever went missing, that he'd be the first person to be suspected. Didn't realize how real this almost was. So yeah, just like you said, it's like kind of just weird to see like a coworker like in this messed up situation. And I think we're obviously, based off the title, about to find out that this coworker like had something really terrible planned for this person in particular. Just the fact that the cops keep title aside, right? Because that's a little bit of a spoiler, but the cops keep pulling this particular person to the side, and she already had her feelings, and like her husband was literally like, if you ever go missing, I know who we're going to suspect.
I'm curious what it was, how it was.
The detective on site told me that they served a search warrant at his home and were looking there for any evidence. It sounds like they found more than they anticipated and were looking to see if there was anything else unrelated to what they were currently investigating. I was asked my name and my husband's name for confirmation for something they found, which I did think was odd, but I let it go and called my husband to update him on the happenings of the day thus far. However, the last hour I was pulled in for the final time and advised by one of the lead detectives, who couldn't even look at me, that I needed to ensure that I was safe and protected in the event they didn't book him that day. Come to find out, he had been journaling about me over the course of at least a year, saying he wanted to be with me, but the problem was that I was married. His journal then lined out a plan to set my husband up for cheating on me, and the end resulted in my death, caused by him, my coworker. The officer said that everything in between was more vile than he's ever heard, to the point he was crying when he was telling me to make sure I was safe. Crying, a detective, and didn't want to scare me. Thankfully, he was charged and is looking at a long, long time in prison. But I still think about it. It keeps me up at night. It just shows you never really know someone, even your coworkers.
The situation is scary, but there is so much question in this particular thing. Is like, okay, he's wanted to be with her, and his idea was make it look like her husband cheating on her and then kill her?
Well, the detective said that it was over the course of a year. So maybe it was like, oh, I'm gonna like set it up to make it look like he cheated on her, so she's with me. And then maybe like over the year, he's like, I hate her, or like, if I can't have her, no one will. So his feelings could have changed over the course of the year. And it wasn't initially clear about why he got arrested, but there's a couple comments that I think clear it up a little bit. What led the police to suspect that he had done something to warrant a search of his office space and home? Was he suspected of harming someone? Someone responded to that, I'm getting the impression he had images of children on his computer because of her not wanting to state what it was and it being disgusting is the first thing that came to mind because that's the most vile thing ever. And then OP responds, downloading this stuff they found to be filming and selling. So he was already doing some sick, vile shit. And of course, at that point, they have him dead to rights. They're going to search his home, and they found this journal of him like obsessing over her.
But yeah, it's an awful person. I happy he's arrested. Yuck. He deserved to sit in jail forever. That's scary to be around the people who, like, honestly, it's less scary to be around the ghosts. If something, you can check out the stories about the ghost on our channel. Ghosts not that scary as much as people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, those were some true scary stories, Marie.
Oh yes, so scary.
If you guys have any true scary stories that you want to share with us to discuss, make sure you hit us up on our subreddit r/lunchbreak_GSP. And Marie, if they haven't already, what should they do?
Well, first, don't be creepy.
Don't be creepy.
Second, like, comment, and subscribe on our channel in this exact order. Don't be creepy, avoid creeps. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.